Max is full of shit. The first time I can recall Max ever kind of like giving me some crap about Bitcoin, Max is full of shit. People told me about Bitcoin. I don't remember if it was as low as below $1. Max is full of shit. We're talking about inflation, fiat money, central banks, hyperinflation. Max is full of shit.
Did Max tell you about Bitcoin at $10 and you just didn't want to buy it?
Max is full of shit. Max lies about a lot of things. I mean, I guess, and sometimes that's part of what happens, when you're pumping Bitcoin. I mean, look, I showed you these clips and anybody could find these things. I might put some together and just put out a YouTube video, but I was doing Max Keiser's show, back, when he was a lot more polite and didn't, call me all kinds of names. But I was doing his show in 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, and this is the time frame where he claims that he told me to buy Bitcoin. He said I told him to buy it when it was under $1. I didn't have any conversations with Max Keiser about Bitcoin at those levels.
The problem is we're not going to grow the economy. We're not going to create jobs by creating inflation, by debasing our money. It might make the stock market go up. It might make the real estate market go up. And so we can delude ourselves into thinking that we actually are growing the economy, but we're just growing the bubbles and growing the debt. And because the economy will never recover, because the Fed won't let it restructure, right, then the unemployment picture is going to continue to get worse, which means we're going to get more and more QE, and they're going to keep on increasing the dose until we overdose because we have a currency crisis, and then it's over.
If you look at my interviews in 2011, 2012, 2013, right, where I'm interviewed for him, 15 minutes, I'm on his show, Keiser Report, we're talking about inflation, fiat money, central banks, hyperinflation, the return to a gold standard, buying gold, all these conversations, and not once does Max Keiser mention Bitcoin or anything about Bitcoin. In fact, you can look at the entire shows where I'm on, and even before I come on, he doesn't mention Bitcoin, doesn't talk about Bitcoin. So, I mean, he may have been mentioning it, occasionally during those years, but he certainly never mentioned it to me, not publicly, not privately. The first time I can recall Max ever kind of like giving me some crap about Bitcoin was around 2014. Now, yeah, it was maybe $300, $400 a Bitcoin, and I was probably saying some negative things about it. And I think at that time, he started, promoting it, but not just Bitcoin. He was telling people buy all the cryptos. I mean, he liked Bitcoin the best, but he said, buy Ethereum, buy, whatever coins. He was like, build a portfolio, buy them. So yes, he was recommending that people buy them when they were several $100s a coin, right? I mean, he could credit himself for that, but he certainly didn't tell me about it, and he didn't tell me about it when it was under $10 or under $1.
I tell people to, buy your gold and keep track of how many ounces you have. I mean, think in terms of the weight of gold that you own, because measuring it in dollars can mean nothing if the dollar collapses, but what's real is how much gold you have. And that is the other difference, like in Bitcoin. If somebody has 10 ounces of gold, they have 10 times as much gold as somebody who has 1 ounce. If someone has 10 Bitcoins, they don't have anything more than someone that has 1. There's no extra weight. There's no extra thing that you can do with it. Yeah, but it's the same. But if you have more gold, it's actually more stuff. You can make more things.
You have more Satoshis with Bitcoin.
Well, but no matter how many you have, you still don't have anything. Well, and gold stocks were up 1,000% before they had that decline. But yeah, but
there's volatility. So
yes,
in your view, there's a bubble in this space, not a bubble in that space, because if you've got a bias expressed in your business.
Gold stocks are a investment in a company. It's not money. I'm not selling gold stocks as a safe haven, low volatility. When I tell my clients to buy gold stocks, it's, hey, this is very risky. And if you think the price of gold could go way up, then you can put some of your money in gold stocks because you have a lot of leverage. And if gold goes up, like if gold goes up to 2,000 from here, which is about 1,250, and it goes to 2,000, that's about a 40% move. I bet people will make 500% in gold stocks. So there's a lot of leverage. A 40% move in gold could take you 500% in stocks. But obviously, if gold goes back down to 1,000, right? Your gold stocks could go down 60, 70%. So there's a lot more risk there. But when I tell people to buy gold, gold is not nearly as volatile. Gold is more of a safe haven. It's a store of wealth. It's an alternative to a fiat currency. Very different than buying stock in a company that is mining gold. In fact, a lot of gold mining companies don't even have gold. They're exploration companies. They're trying to find it.
But if you just focus on that, where does the U.S. government get the money to retire all the maturing bonds? Every year, trillions of dollars worth of treasuries mature. The government doesn't have that money. It relies on new buyers to cash out the old buyers. And in many cases, it's the same holders. The people that hold the debt just roll it over so we never have to pay it back. But nobody wants to acknowledge the simple truth that repayment is impossible. All we can do is borrow more money to pay off the maturing debt, but then the debt stack keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger because of the compounding interest and because the government borrows more money every single year.
Money must be a commodity in and of itself before it's money. It
This
must
is a
have
commodity.
actual use. No, it's not.
It is.
Okay, so you tell me
immutable?
what can you do with your bitcoins right now?
Sound.
What?
I have a Bitcoin debit card. I can go
No, but
anywhere in
that's
the
not
world
that's
and buy
spending
stuff.
it. If
That's right, because otherwise you have the ability of others to come in and change that database. Databases, you can have any database product can come along and secure data, but it's not immutable and it's not stored.
it has to
it's
have
secure because of the technology of proof of work.
it has to have an
technology
actual
every 10
use,
minutes.
apart from its
Securing
use.
data is useful. Securing
What data are you securing?
any data that you would
What
want.
data are you securing?
Financial data, mortgage data. The
But on
proof
your
of birth
personal- if
data,
you have- if I have one
my
Bitcoin-
birth
no.
certificate, my
No.
personal data, my verification of
But
who
you
I
don't
am.
need-
So I don't need Equifax
But you
to
don't
sell
need-
my data
and you-
lose my data and fuck my data.
and
I
you
can have
don't
my
need
data
Bitcoin
on a private
either.
key and say this is me. It's immutable. It's every 10
Yes,
minutes. It's
but-
verified. And that's who I
Max,
am. Give me my fucking
Max,
money.
You don't need Bitcoin either.
Other people did. I mean, I'm not saying that I didn't know about it back then. I did. People told me about Bitcoin. I don't remember if it was as low as below $1. It was definitely below $10. It could have been below $1 when I first heard about it. There were people telling me about it, but Max Keiser wasn't one of those people. So if somebody wants to come out and say, hey, I told Peter to buy Bitcoin below $10, he didn't do it, there are people who could say that. Max can't. You know, he can lie and pretend, but we never had those conversations.
The problem is we're not going to grow the economy. We're not going to create jobs by creating inflation, by debasing our money.
He was recommending that people buy them when they were several $100s a coin.
Nobody wants to acknowledge the simple truth that repayment is impossible. But then the debt stack keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger because of the compounding interest and because the government borrows more money every single year.